Hey, what's up guys? This is Anthony from Anthony's Customs, and for this review, we are looking at the Marvel Legends Citizen V from the Thanos Build-A-Figure wave of, well, it's not completely Avengers Marvel Legends because it just says Marvel on the box, but it's Citizen V. It came in the Thanos wave, and it's the only figure of this guy we've gotten. So those of you that are big fans of this character, you will be happy to know this is a figure that exists. You will be displeased to know that it only does about half the things right, and the other half the things are pretty bad, so that's kind of a bummer. But somehow it still is alluring in some way. I appreciate the look. I don't know what it is. I think it's the wrapped wrists and the wash on them. Something about it's really cool. So, I don't know. I kind of like it even though I don't want to. So let's go ahead and get him. Well, he's ready to go. And this guy stands, when he's not falling over, about 6 1/4 inches, which makes him just about 16 centimeters. And it is basically another Bucky Cap mold, which is still to this day their best mold overall, even though it's been used about 1 billion times too many. It's their best one, and that's probably one of the things that makes this figure appealing. It also has the wrapped wrists and hands, which are really nicely sculpted. The wrapped belt, I guess. I don't really know what's going on there, but it's still nicely sculpted. And then a really nice set of detailed boots. All of the red pieces there have a nice black wash on them, and it makes the figure pop. And that goes to show you that everything I say about paint is true. The tiniest little bit of paint can really go a long way, and this is just a basic wash on some red, and it looks awesome. If this guy had shading on the blue as well, man, that would have looked really, really sharp. But otherwise, we have some other aesthetics to talk about. We have the cape, and that's not a good thing because it's molded in white, which is a good call because it's mostly white. But then where they have the blue, the line work is good in some places, fuzzy in others, and then just outright bad in other places. So that's a problem. They did a good job painting the red stripes here and then the blue and the stars up here. But as far as the sculpt goes, this one's nice and clean and smooth, but this one looks like somebody went at it with an X-Acto knife while they were sitting on the toilet. Like, who made this? How did an official product come out looking like somebody carved it out of like coconut husks? I don't get it. That's like, it's so choppy and janky looking. Did they pay like some half-ass customizer to do it? I don't know what's going on here. It doesn't look like an official release. So that's a little weird. And it's like right there front and center. It goes from blue to white right next to his head. It's quite obvious. I don't like that at all. I do like the head sculpt though. I mean, for a fairly subtle design, they did a good job with it with the 2 pieces, so that's alright. And then, you know, it's a good mold for the Bucky Cap mold, so even though it doesn't have any shading, it's nice. So overall aesthetics on this guy, I'm gonna give it a 7.5 out of 10. The wrists and the boots and the belt, fantastic. The mold's still really good, but no shading. And then the cape being cut up with an X-Acto knife, that takes it back a whole bunch, so that's disappointing. As far as accessories go, I guess you can count the cape if you really want to, but then we only get his saber, which is actually kind of cool. They have a nice sculpt going on here, but he can't hold it. He can't hold it very well at all. It comes with one of those clear rubber bands holding it into his hand in the package. And it's not like it's going to fall out immediately, but he does have some trouble keeping it in his hand, so be aware of that. It's going to take a little bit of effort when you're posing him, but it's okay. It's not terrible. It could have used a little bit of paint for sure. As far as articulation goes, well, it should be no surprise that it's pretty good because it is the Bucky Cap figure. Once again, his head does lean back and forward very nicely. The head sits on the neck pretty well, so that's good. Rotation is fine. Just a little tiny bit of attitude, not much. Shoulders, they go just about horizontal, full rotation. Bicep swivel is fine. Double jointed elbow is fine. Wrist swivel and hinge, no problem. This side's a fist hand, obviously. This side's a gripping hand. And the hinges are both horizontal. As far as the ab crunch, it doesn't really go back, just a little tiny bit. Going forward, not a whole lot. Waist twist is fine. This is technically a floating piece, so you can move that if you want to hide that joint. For the hips, they go out about 45. Going forward is completely fine. Going back is just a little bit. Thigh swivel is fine. Double jointed knee is fine. Boot swivel is pretty good, though it's at a little bit of a weird angle. It's still okay. Bringing the ankle back is pretty good. Going forward, really good. And then for our swivel hinge ankle rocker, it's off at a pretty steep angle, but it does work nice enough. So ultimately, the articulation is what I would expect from this mold, and since it's such a nice mold, I like it, but that's not important what I like. It's important what's objective, and the objective truth is the articulation is about a 7 out of 10. The ab crunch just doesn't work well enough, and there are other issues that they could have improved upon, and they haven't yet because they just keep reusing the exact same mold for like 15 years straight now, and there's about 1,000 of these figures out there, so that's a bummer. Okay, final thoughts on this guy. Character design is very odd, very generic looking, but somehow still very appealing. That's a very subjective thing, so you can just ignore that part. But as far as the actual figure itself, they did a pretty good job bringing this guy to plastic life, so I'm going to give him some points there. Take away some points for that chopped up shoulder pad, and it's going to come out to a 7 out of 10. That does some things well enough that it's not just an average figure for them, but it definitely does a few things bad enough that it keeps reminding me how much I hate some of the things Hasbro does. So let me know what you guys think about all those things, and give the video a thumbs up if you liked it, because that helps out and I would really appreciate it. And you might want to check out some of my other reviews. I've got thousands of them. They're all for your benefit. And if you haven't subscribed, you might want to do that too, because I do have new videos almost every single day, so plenty of content here for you, so make sure you come back for that. And in the meantime, keep collecting.